Hey YouTube, it's EvanMagician34, and I've got your long-awaited top 5 cards of Soul of the Duelist. First off, we're going to start with an honorable mention. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, this set was not really the most extremely exciting and, full of crazy power cards kind of set, and there was a big runoff between a lot of the cards kind of ranking lower among my top 5. And so I decided to give honorable mention to Masked Dragon, because it really is a pretty close contest. Masked Dragon, pretty straightforward on this guy. He's level 3 and he gets small dragons when he dies in battle. He's just a solid recruiter. And so, for that reason, once again, you gotta compare the other cards that are gonna be on the list. He's good, he's still playable, and dragons may become more viable when their structure deck comes out in the not too distant future from when this video was made. So, he's worthy of note and mention. But getting into number 5, we've got Dark Factory of Mass Production. What this card does is it just gets you any 2 normal monsters from your grave and puts them into your hand, so it's inherently a +1. Granted, it's a +1 with normal monsters, but it's normal monsters of any level. So it's good for like combo decks and decks that try to draw out and stuff like that. It's been useful for Exodia decks, especially like the Dragon Exodia deck that uses cards of consonants and trade in and whatnot. So it's a worthwhile card. It also works with Geminis. It's just solid. It's got a lot of advantage potential. Ranking over it at number 4 is Hammershot. Just destroys one face-up monster on the field that's in attack position that has the highest attack. Just a good removal. It's kind of in the same family as Smashing Ground and Fissure. It's not quite as flexible as they are because it has the restriction of things being in attack position, and it will hit either side of the field pretty indiscriminately. So it's not the best, but it's still a good removal. And decks like Gadgets have been able to use him, and he still kills the biggest attack position threat, which is usually going to be what your opponent's got. So, next up, ranking in at number 3, Mystic Swordsman level 2. He absolutely replaced Sasuke Samurai in the capacity that these guys work. 900 attack really isn't bad for his effect, and he just straight up kills things that are set without flipping them or anything, no damage calculation. And what's important to realize about this guy is not just that he chops up their set monsters, basically negating their existence, but he puts your opponent in a bad position defensively speaking, because either they have to summon Sling in attack mode just to kill him, therefore leaving Sling in attack position that you can probably run over and kill, once again stripping them of defenses, or what, they're going to have to set something new that he's just going to butcher again? So, he puts them in a tight spot, and he can force them to make less than ideal plays, which is always good. Plus, you can search him with cards like Reinforcement of the Army. So, a very important card who did have a big impact on the game in its slower days, and might again in the future. However, number 2 had a bigger impact yet, and that's Mobius the Frost Monarch. Of all the quote-unquote traditional monarchs, Mobius was the only one who could potentially gain you more advantage through his summon. The idea of monarchs is that they're fair trades. You tribute one monster so you're down a card, but then you deny your opponent a card somehow. So it's a 1-for-1, it's a fair trade, plus a 2400 point body. But Mobius can actually pop 2 cards from your opponent for your 1 tribute, at least in theory. So that means that, really, he can actually gain you advantage, which is a unique characteristic that he has compared to his brethren. Now, of course, the trade-off is it'll probably be something like Bottomless Trap Hole or Torrential that'll trade with him and kill him too. But still, unless he gets Solemn Warned or Solemn Judged or something like that, he's still going to get that extra card even if one of them kills him, so it ends up being a fair trade in the end, which makes him pretty darn good. Plus, water is a pretty useful attribute. Number 1, as you may have guessed, is Mind Crush. You can shoot it randomly, but that's obviously, then it's just your best guess. But especially in formats like the one when this video was made, and they do come up periodically, your opponent's deck is pretty gosh darn predictable. And so this card can actually be very effective. Plus you can chain it in response to anything that searches your opponent's deck to quickly strip it out of their hand. And of course it works very well with things like Crush Card Virus and Trap Dust Shoot that allow you to see your opponent's hand. And it also helps that this thing pitches every copy of whatever you find, so it can really strip out your opponent's stuff early game and even mid game. So Mind Crush is the number 1 card in Soul of the Duelist. Its early game advantage and impact can simply put your opponent so far in the hole that they can't recover. So, until next time, those are your top 5 plus 1 honorable mention from Soul of the Duelist. And don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more cool videos.